It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. I'm coming to you from Forest in Bedford County, Virginia. That's in the Central Virginia area. Been a pretty busy little bit of a last 24 hours for me. Most of you that follow me on Facebook saw that I did, in fact, buy a car yesterday. It's just terribly uncomfortable getting in and out of the truck after all these years. And since I had to give up the concessions trailer because of the oxygen, I went out and I found a Subaru Forester, and I bought it. So anyway, it's new for me. It's not new. It's 2017, low mileage. I got all the Carfax stuff on it, so it's a nice little car. All right, let's get at it today. We've got a bunch of stuff to cover today. First of all, this is National Gumbo Day. Man, would I like to be down in New Orleans with a big bowl of shrimp and andouille sausage gumbo. Man, I saw that this morning, and all of a sudden my taste buds started perking up and going nuts. All right, in the news today, we got Hurricane Pamela. We got to talk about that. Folks down on the western coast of central western coast of Mexico are in for a nasty one in the next 24 hours, I'll tell you. Is Florida really going to go after the cruise industry? We'll talk about that. San Francisco welcomes a cruise ship. Texas bans vaccine mandates. Are they going to join in with Florida and attacking the cruise industry too? Disney and Cozumel and Hot Air Tom and Little Havana. That's all this morning on Travel and Cruise Industry News. All right, first we got to talk about the weather. The two systems there in the Atlantic are nothing. They're low pressure systems. They're spawning some little bit of rain and some wind, and I just like I said yesterday, I don't see them doing anything. Not so within the Pacific. We got Hurricane Pamela. Since yesterday, it did become a hurricane, by the way, folks. And before I get to that, I do have an announcement to make. Yesterday on the show, when we were talking about the quiz for the day, from which port was this? Nikki guessed Hilo, Hawaii, and I totally missed it. And she was correct with that. I would have accepted Hilo, would have accepted the Big Island. It doesn't matter. But anyway, thanks to Elizabeth for catching that for me. So, Nikki, you were correct with your guess yesterday on Hilo, Hawaii. Okay. So back to the weather. Hurricane Pamela is likely to be near or a major hurricane when it makes landfall. The last numbers I had, she's about 265 miles south-southeast of Baja and about 300 miles south-southwest of Mazatlan. Currently 75-mile-an-hour winds. She's moving at 12 miles an hour to the north. Pressure's down to 988. So once it drops below 1,000, it's always seems that shows us what we've got ahead. Steady to rapid strengthening is forecast. Pamela is expected to be near major hurricane strength when she reaches the coast of Mexico early tomorrow. Storm surge is expected to produce significant coastal flooding in the areas of I lost my place totally. Coastal flooding in the areas and onshore winds near where the center of Pamela makes landfall in southwestern Mexico. Near the coast, the surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. Hurricane conditions are expected within the hurricane warning area. So let me show you the warning area. It's been expanded a little bit further from yesterday. That's the obvious. This little section of the coast is where it's going to be the worst part of the storm. And again, we could be at category 3 by the time it reaches landfall. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. You're going to start seeing wind warnings out by tonight and into most of the day tomorrow. Tropical storm conditions beginning as early as this evening. Rainfall the next couple days. Pamela is expected to produce somewhere between 4 to 8 inches on the Mexican states of Sinaloa and western Durango. Isolated maximum totals of up to 12 inches. This rainfall may trigger significant flash flooding and mudslides. Across the southern portion of Baja Sur, 2 to 4 inches, with isolated totals up to 6. Across portions of central Texas and southeastern Oklahoma, 3 to 5 inches, with isolated maximum totals of 8. You're going to have some tremendous surf all up and down the west coast of Mexico, so be careful with that. After being relatively steady in strength for the past 12 hours, the satellite images indicate that Pamela has resumed intensifying. An Air Force Reserve Reconnaissance aircraft is flying through the storm right now as we speak, so we'll have some reports from that later on this afternoon to give us a better assessment of the structure, intensity, and the wind field. Pamela has made the expected turn to the north and should continue moving northward today. By tonight, Pamela is forecast to move faster to the northeast toward the coast of west central Mexico. Heavy rains associated with Pamela expected to move into the Mexican states of Sinaloa and western Durango, along with southern portions of Baja Sur later today and Wednesday. And of course, that's going to significantly affect possibility of flash flooding and mudslides. After the storm moves inland tomorrow, Pamela or its remnants should accelerate northeastward across central and northern Mexico over the next couple days. Even though Pamela has not strengthened as quickly as thought, the intensity forecast hasn't changed that much, and it's expected to be generally favorable to gain strength until it reaches the coast in the next 24 hours or so. Therefore, the forecast continues to predict steady to rapidly strengthening. Pamela is likely to be near major hurricane strength when it makes landfall. After landfall, she should rapidly decay due to the rugged terrain of Mexico, and it should ultimately dissipate over the mountainous terrain of Mexico. The system's remnants are likely to spread over north central and southeastern Mexico on Wednesday, and across portions of central Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, late Wednesday and Thursday, which could result in flash flooding and urban flooding all up and down that area. So that's what's going on with Pamela. Again, all you folks down in Mexico, especially along the western coast, this could be nasty. It's not going to be that widespread, but it could be really, really nasty. So, anyway, I just got a message from Tom. The link is not doing anything on my iPad. Okay, I will try. Let me try redoing that link. So I got to come here. I'm trying to bring Hot Air Tom in to give us some dialogue on his pictures that I have loaded from his visit to little Havana. So let me send him another link so he can try that, and we'll see what happens. Okay. There's another link, Tom. So try that and see if that will let you come in, and I will go on with the next story. You know, dealing with Florida and Governor DeSantis Once again, cruise lines that operate in Florida are on a list released by the state's Department of Health of businesses that may have broken the rules on requesting proof of vaccination for the so-called vaccine passport. 3 cruise lines could be in some trouble related to Florida's vaccine passport ban. The Orlando Sentinel reports that the Florida Department of Health released a list that features 120 cases of businesses in Florida that may have broken the vaccine passport law. Currently, these listed cases are under review, and that includes 3 cruise lines: Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Disney are all on the list as they operate cruises that depart from Florida. Governor DeSantis signed the legislation to ban vaccine passports in Florida back in May, a month after the emergency order was issued. This means no business operating in the state can request a person to show proof of vaccination. If a company does ask for proof, there could be a fine of up to $5,000 per violation, which could add up depending on the number of people involved. Since the ban on vaccine passports has been placed and cruise ships have restarted operations in Florida, the way around the ban is for cruise passengers to show their vaccination status freely, which many people have been doing. Depending on the cruise lines, if guests don't show that they're fully vaccinated, they may not be allowed on board or follow stricter protocols during the cruise. Then, of course, back on August the 8th, Norwegian was granted a preliminary injunction on their suit, allowing them to sail from Florida with 100% vaccinated passengers and crew members. However, just last week, Florida filed the appeal to that injunction with the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. That we have not heard anything from the Circuit Court of Appeals yet. The conditional sailing order was implemented in 2020, has also gone through multiple changes. Florida has just been in court with Norwegian, but also in court with the CDC, where Florida came up on top. So they lost to Norwegian, but they won against the CDC. So currently, the sail order is now only a recommendation. The bottom line to all this, folks, is that the cruise lines are in an impossible position. Florida is saying you cannot require vaccinated crew members. The Bahamas and other islands now are saying we will only accept the ships if everybody is vaccinated. And then we got that stupid law that says if you sail from a U.S. port, you've got to go to a foreign country before you can return to the port. So a ship can't sail from Florida and be refused entry in the Bahamas and come back to Florida without breaking the federal laws. So what the hell is a cruise line supposed to do? I mean, obviously Norwegian, they won their suit so they can sail with fully vaccinated passengers. Now, are the state really going to take on the cruise industry? I mean, if they start trying to, fine those cruise lines $5,000 per passenger, which is ridiculous. How long is it going to take these cruise lines to say the hell with Florida and we're going to leave completely? We'll go sail from Nassau, or we'll sail from Charleston, or we'll sail from New Orleans or Galveston. I mean, it's just ridiculous to get into that political football crap. And I'm sorry, I don't want to take a political side in this, but goodness gracious. Has nothing to do with freedoms, folks. How about the freedoms of the people that want to safely sail? I don't want to rant. That's a joke. All right, San Francisco. Yesterday, I got a couple of real stories, and then we'll get to Tom. I see Tom did get the link to work, so we'll have Tom here in just a second. The Port of San Francisco welcomed a cruise ship yesterday, the first since the shutdown back in early 2020. The port also has a record number of cruise calls scheduled for the upcoming year, according to an announcement from San Francisco Mayor London Breed and the Port of San Francisco on Friday. The mayor said, "I'm so excited to welcome cruises back to our port and visitors to our city. Tourism is a critical part of the city's economy, helping to pay for important services that allow us to take care of our most vulnerable residents." Princess Cruises' Majestic Princess was the first ship to call in the city since the shutdown and is one of 21 cruise calls expected in the port throughout the rest of 2021. In 2022, 127 cruise ship visits are scheduled, which is a record for the port. 2019 cruise stops at the Port of San Francisco contributed $27 million to their economy. So good for San Francisco. Now, if anybody's watched any news this morning, you've probably already heard on traditional news about the Governor Abbott down there in Texas issued a broad executive order that bars virtually any vaccine mandate in the state. Governor Abbott was among the most vocal political leaders in the United States opposing vaccine mandates. His latest executive order includes private employers, which have been exempt from previous edicts against the mandate. So now we've got another situation here in in Texas, just like in Florida. While the thing on traditional news is because of all these businesses that home in Texas, like Southwestern Air and Tesla's just moving their main facilities. So that's saying that they can no longer require their employees to be vaccinated. That also means the cruise ships can't require vaccinated passengers if they're going to fall in line with that. So we're going to have a whole nother mess in Texas, just like we have in Florida, because they're both are Republican governors who are opposed to vaccine mandates and will readily admit that you need to be vaccinated to stop the spread of the COVID. I don't get the reasoning why they are so opposed to somebody saying, "I only want vaccinated people in my place of business." So, all right. From our friend down in Cozumel, I do have a couple things from Elizabeth. This is out of her archive of some older things. Have you ever seen a champagne waterfall fall? This is from the old Diamond Princess. She was sailing, Elizabeth Stern, which is, on location with Elizabeth, was sailing a number of years ago in rough seas between Australia and New Zealand. This was a picture taken of these folks, and right shortly thereafter, this happened. And that picture that I just showed you soon went to that picture. What a mess they had to clean up from all that glass breaking. So that was a champagne waterfall fallen. All right, Disney Fantasy actually visited Cozumel yesterday, the first Disney ship to do so since last March. So that's a picture of Disney Fantasy at dock in Cozumel yesterday. All right. Now let's come over here and see if I can do this without screwing up. We'll bring in Hot Air Tom. Add Hot Air Tom to the screen. There you go. Tom, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, everyone.
Tom is at his office down there in Florida overlooking the port and those just terrible digs. There's a shot of the port, of course, the port of Miami. And of course, Tom, by the way, folks, if any of you did not see Saturday's show, you have to go back and watch Tom live streaming while parasailing. It was probably the neatest show I've ever had on. All right. So Saturday evening, I think it was, Hot Air Tom visited Little Havana.
Correction. It was Sunday morning, 11:30.
All right. So you're Sunday morning, you're in a Little Havana. Okay. I'm not sure which order these are loaded, so I'm just going to put it up and you can just talk us through it.
That was the end.
Okay. So I'll go back the other side. Okay. So I'll come back to that one.
We started out with the guys playing dominoes.
Oh. Now, wait a minute.
We can work backwards, though, if you like. So
yeah,
the mural there had a face and a bunch of representations for Cuban life. But the one neat thing is that there was all these murals that we've seen in the. We only walked a few blocks. Yes, that's the beginning.
Okay.
So this is in Domino Park, which is right. It's on 8th Street Southwest. And I'm thinking of the cross street. I think it might have been around 15th. But they have a cute little park there, and I didn't have it on the camera, but right behind what you can see there's a neat pedestrian walkway with dominoes in the walkway showing. And then they have this little park with all sorts of these tables set up that there's a domino club that the guys join, and there's domino games going on like every day of the week. This was our first stop for the food tour, where we had a genuine Cuban sandwich, which was mustard, pickles, ham, and pork on a very nice, crunchy, toasted piece of bread. And now she's bringing mojitos for us, which were delicious.
That looks like a mojito to me.
That's a piece of sugar cane sticking out of there that showing on the sugar cane was quite nice.
That looks like a cigar store.
Yes, we had a stop in a cigar store, and I bought a couple cigars to give as gifts. So some of the inventory and those boxes on the wall there were quite expensive.
Yeah. The one picture of the girl actually working, making cigars did not come through.
That's too bad.
Yeah. El Pub Restaurante.
My computer is a little slow, and the picture on the phone's a little small. So, trying to think what we did here. I think this is where we did the Cuban coffee. Okay. So they had a couple different versions, but basically he got this cup that might have been, I don't know, about that high, and then he poured it into the little cups they gave us. So we all had sort of it's like a shareable. It might have been 5 or 6 sips, but boy, that stuff is strong and super sweet.
Yeah.
And super hot.
Yeah, I've ordered some Cuban coffee a couple times here when I've been able to get it that I make in my Keurig.
Jack is asking what version of dominoes do they play, and I don't know. My version of dominoes is where you set them up and put them in a row, and then you knock them down, and they make a nice tap. It wasn't that game.
One of the things that I've been around some Cuban folks when they're playing dominoes, they slap the dominoes on the table.
Very noisy.
Like it break my damn wrist.
So basically they had a 9 domino with a 9 dot on it.
Yeah.
That was a little different because ours only go to 6. So
yes.
They're just basically matching the numbers on the thing and making different patterns and things on the table. And the thing that surprised me is the winner was the one with the most points on their. I'm not sure when the game was done. I didn't understand. I didn't hear the rules, but I did hear that you get the most points. Like when you're playing cards usually and you run out, you want low numbers there. So
All right, they got a McDonald's down there, it looks like.
yes, they got approval to do that as long as they made the building fit in with the decor of the street. So they had this specially mural done. It's ceramic tiles. So he was pointing that out. So we got the dominoes and the fresh fruit and different things, and this was celebrating the music.
Those murals are just fascinating.
And so the colors are great, and it's so neat how they're representing different aspects of their life.
And that's got to be, half a block of murals along there or more. It's neat stuff.
So we got a neat little drink in this stop. That it was a fruit drink with no sugar or water added, and he asked us what we thought. There was 2 fruits in it, and what we thought was in it. And it was a little hard to tell, but it was a combination of watermelon and papaya. But it was very refreshing. So.
Okay.
And it reminded me of Key West. We got roosters running around. There's lots of cock-a-doodle-doos going on in the area, and a lot of different rooster memorabilia.
Yeah. There's the domino sidewalk.
Yeah, so this isn't at the park that I was talking about, but another location that celebrating their dominoes.
Okay.
He said that the number 1 sport in Cuba was baseball, and number 2 was dominoes. Although they did so bad in baseball the last year that dominoes could be number 1 now.
All right, now this one fascinated me. I looked at that and I said, "Oh, they got a picture from down in Havana. That's Havana in the background from that car." So when I first saw that, but then I saw the selfie mural with you in it. That's a mural of Havana with the car actually parked in front of it.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Car looked really nice. It was,
I do like the old cars.
A Bel Air.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately, he said it had been parked, I guess, out front recently, and somebody damaged it, and they had to spend a lot of money to recondition it. Wonderful people. So he had a big talk. We went to a clothing store, a big talk on the Cuban traditional shirts, which I bought several. But they have 4 pockets. It was one of the traditions. Cigars in the top and other things in the bottom. The bottom 2 pockets, and the sides have a zipper or buttons to open up if you need to expand a little bit.
And they're big on hats.
Yes. So those are Panama hats, which he said weren't made in Panama, and I forget which country. It was it's one of the other South American countries, but they got the name Panama when we had a president down there for the opening of the Panama Canal, and he wore one and assigned it as Panama hat, and he said, "Who are we to change it?"
And that was first light this morning. I take it down there at Port Miami.
Yep, this morning. Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's go over and see who's fussing at me in the chat room.
I have the maid knocking, so I'm going to go answer the door.
Okay, go ahead.
Come in. Come in. Hello.
All right. Let's see. Jack's with us. Sonny's with us. Of course, Tom was in the audience there early. Carol's here. Hey, Carol. Lovely fall day up in Niagara. 21 degrees Celsius. Nice sunny day. Elizabeth with us down in Mexico.
touch up the bathroom.
I'll pull Tom out of that while he's talking there. Buenos dias from Cozumel, Elizabeth says. Tom had sent me a message on the link, so we got that fixed. Gretchen's here, 69 degrees in Northeast Ohio. Beautiful high of 78 expected today. Nice. Tom said his view of an empty port today. No ships sailing. Yeah, by the way, there are no ships sailing anywhere today. In case you missed that this morning, no ships at all sailing from the U.S. today or tomorrow. We actually, after a busy 3 days, we got a couple days off. Let's see where else we got. Everybody's still saying greetings back and forth. Gretchen says she's ready for the tropics, at least for a week. That's cool. 84 in Cozumel with the heat index. The perceived temperature is 95 today, just like I like it. Sounds good as long as you get out of the heat for a while late afternoon. Sonny asks
on the computer.
Sonny asks, excuse me.
We got here.
Hi.
You're on
Greetings.
YouTube.
She's in there working. Greetings. You're on internet, on the YouTube. All right. Let's see here.
What's your name?
Maya.
Maya. Say hi to Maya.
Hi, Maya. You're becoming famous with your taking care of Hot Air Tom today. Okay, let's see. Sonny asked Elizabeth, how low does Cozumel get? And cool temperatures in the evening or during the winter. Elizabeth says Sonny gets down in the 70s. We wear parkas. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised because you're used to the heat all the time. 70s might be a little cool, especially for us older folk. So Sonny said that was funny. Tom Henry said we need a judge to put this idiot in his place. Boy, I tell you what, honestly, those two governors need to. Yeah, well. DeSantis needs to stop this. I hate living in the state anymore. How ridiculous. I'm just, man, if I was the cruise industry, I'd tell them to go to hell real quickly. I'm surprised the other cruise line haven't filed suit like Norwegian did. Tom Henry had said, I wonder whose pocket he's in with the stupid health protocols. I completely agree. No telling what's going on there. Let's have a secret time vaccination. We'll vaccinate everyone in their sleep. That's a terrific idea. DeSantis needs to change his focus and deal with some real problems. He really likes to stir things up. Elizabeth says it's like he just wants to screw the cruise lines. Man, I tell you what, that's what it looks like to me. I mean, because the cruise companies, that's a no-win situation. Totally no-win. Jack says constitutional viewpoint versus health viewpoint. Yeah, I suppose that's true, but still. Whoa. Oh, that was a Star Trek soundtrack from Hot Air there. Doesn't he care how much money cruising brings the state? No, he probably doesn't. Cruise lines have already cruised home ports outside of the U.S. DeSantis needs to think of the jobs in Florida residents that could be lost. Yeah, I mean, the Norwegian at one time threatened to pull out completely. And that's what led to their lawsuit. There's pictures out of Governor Abbott already in his orange prison suit. Yep, I know. So, Tom, if you need to go, that's fine. We do appreciate everything you do for us down there in Florida. If you need to get busy, go ahead. So, all right. Not sure what Tom's doing there. So glad OU beat Texas. What a game, man. Nikki's referring to Oklahoma, Texas football game. I watched part of that one too. That was a hell of a football game. Goodness gracious. And Jack says, I have natural immunity, yet it is not recognized by the CDC or the cruise lines. And I think the CDC needs to come out and be specific about that completely. And I don't know if it's that they're trying to get more information or more data. I don't know, but I agree with you, Jack. Somebody needs to make a final determination, because you guys that went through serious cases of COVID and you've got doctors telling you that you've got natural immunity now from it. I don't know. That needs to be addressed officially. Emily's with us up in New York. Everybody says hello to Emily. Emily said hello to Hot Air Tom, too. Great view, Hot Air. Tom, you are awesome. You have great legs. Yeah, Carol was talking about your legs from the parasailing event. Nice view of your legs. Love those hats, Sonny says. Nikki says, Jack, interesting article in the New York Times this morning. If you've had COVID, do you need the vaccine? Oh, that's maybe we can get some people into thinking in those terms more than they are now. Cindy said there's a huge Cuban influence here in Tampa. Love the Cuban sandwiches and mojitos in Moho Park. I've heard the sandwiches are just fabulous down there. I've not been through Little Havana in years. But last time I was down there, which I'm going way back, 30, 35 years ago, maybe. There were some pretty good eatings down there in those days, too. Yeah, Emily, Hot Air is not in Cuba. He's in Little Havana in Miami. In case you're asking about protocols in Cuba. Nobody's allowed to go to Cuba right now from this country. That was banned by the last administration, and Biden has never changed it. Nikki says, love those shirts. Jack says, most anti-natural immunity articles rely on antibodies fading with time. All antibodies fade with time. Bad metrics. T cells remain active and can produce needed antibodies. Sharon's with us. She says, hello. How you doing, Sharon? Emily says, the news says that the kids will be able to go out trick-or-treating this year from Dr. Fauci. Hello, Chillie. Cancel my Florida trip this week, flying Southwest. Oh, you got involved in the Southwest debacle. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. Jason says, you're on internet. That's to the lady in the room there. Sharon says, kind of think the Florida governor is protecting Disney. A vaccine mandate would hurt them. Yeah, it probably would, but it depends on the seriousness of the overall American population and getting rid of this pandemic once and for all. And clearly, the best path is through vaccinations. And I appreciate Jack's position since he has had a severe case of the disease. And I understand how that can be some immunity. Maybe they're still trying to study to see if that, in fact, does do better than the vaccines do. I don't know. Gretchen says, beam Tom up from the thing. Elizabeth says she's got a friend that's had COVID twice. Yeah, I've heard a couple cases of that as well. Sharon says cruise lines should be able to have adult-only cruises. They should be able to have vaccine only. They should be able to have wine drinkers only too. Yeah, well, what would be wrong with a wine drinkers cruise? I don't see anything wrong with that. If you don't want to go on a wine drinkers cruise, you don't go. So. Hot Air Tom is inspiring all of us on how to play at our age. Yeah, Tom, I tell you what, Hot Air Tom's done some things that I've just liked to do. He says, oops, had a work call. Okay, well, I can appreciate that because he is working down there. Emily says, oh, I thought he took a trip. He did. He went from Virginia down to Miami. He's in Miami. And that's where he did the parasailing, and he went to Little Havana, which is there in Miami. So Tom says, I asked the guide about resuming cruises to Cuba. He felt the situation in Cuba was not good to do at this time. Yeah, that could be too. Tom says, I did take a trip, Emily. He took a trip to Miami. Thanks for sharing, Tom. Yeah. Okay. That's going to wrap me up today, folks. That was a terrific show. I enjoyed it. And always enjoy Hot Air Tom and his exploits. And I really couldn't. I like to pick at Tom and create crazy stories about his trips, and I couldn't do it today because I like Little Havana. That was a fun little trip through Little Havana and seeing the domino players and the clothing stores, plus the good eating and drinking. So, all right, that's going to wrap me up for today, guys. I'll be back same time, same station tomorrow, 11 a.m. for Wednesday travel and cruise industry news. Who knows what's going to happen in Texas and Florida? I'm sure we'll have more information on that. And goodness knows, people, if you're down in Mexico, please stay safe. Don't do anything stupid with this hurricane. It could be nasty, especially the first little bit on shore there, if it hits as a major hurricane. So any of you down there in the western coast of Mexico, stay safe. Be on the lookout because this could be nasty. So, and I'm sure I'll have an update on that tomorrow as well. So that's it for today, guys. I'll see everybody back here same time tomorrow on Wednesday Travel and Cruise Industry News. This is the old fat travel guy. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.